Hello friends, I am Dr. Sanjay Bachau from R.C. Patel Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirpur. This video is prepared as a part of activities for International FDP on Environment and Sustainability. This is the detail of my earlier videos uploaded. In the first video, I have discussed about the percentage of toxins present in the e-waste of PC and its impact on human health. It got 103 views and 26 likes. In the second video, I have discussed about the technologies used in e-waste management. It got 21 views and 6 likes. These are the learning outcomes of the videos uploaded earlier. After learning through or going through these videos, students will be able to learn how to know the content of harmful residues and its effect on human health. Second, to understand the various challenges in e-waste management sector. Third, to know the scenario of existing formal and informal sectors of working for e-waste management. And last, that is to understand the need of skill development and new technologies in e-waste management sector. Now I have already discussed about the e-waste and e-waste technologies in the India in my earlier videos. Now today I am going to discuss on e-waste management in India. The yellows for these videos are, that is, learning outcomes. First, to know the generation of e-waste in India quantitatively. Second, to understand rules and guidelines for e-waste in India. And last, to adopt environment friendly and sustainable practices for e-waste management in India. Now, if we see this graph, it is observed that the India is at 4th number in generating e-waste, while the China is at 1st, America at 2nd, and Japan is at 3rd position. And India generates 2 million metric tons of e-waste every year. So these are the major sources of e-waste generation in India. These are the first one is the government, public and private sector, which contributes 70%. Then individual household, that contributes 15%, and rest of the 15% contributed by the manufacturers. So this is the list of top 10 states in India that contributes approximately 70% of the total e-waste. And here you can see that the Maharashtra is at number 1. So again, in India, 65 cities generate more than 60% of the total e-waste. And in these 65 cities, that Mumbai at the top, then Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai and so on. Now let us discuss about the management of e-waste. There is no unique or ideal model for e-waste management in developing countries, each of which has its own specific environmental, social, technological and economical and cultural conditions. So the first is the implementation of 3 R's. Environmentally sound management of WEEE or WEEE, that is waste of electronic and electrical equipments, recognizes there is 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. The aim would be first to reduce the generation of e-waste through the smart manufacturing and maintenance. Second, to reuse the functioning of electronic equipment by someone else. And third, to recycle those components that cannot be repaired. The second one is the waste management guidelines for developing countries, which are policies and regulations covering import and export of EEE and WEEE in accordance with the rules of each country and with interaction legislation. The next is defining the responsibilities of prime stakeholders at the level of government, supply chain, consumer of ICT equipment, and entities for disposal of waste. Next is extended producer responsibility, that is EPR, where the manufacturer's responsibility for its ICT equipment extends throughout the various stages of that equipment's life cycle, with internalizing the cost of managing the equipment at the end of life. Next, the responsible information system to have data on ICT equipments in market, disuse EEE management and WEEE management, and to have control on the monitoring and future planning. Now, what is the Indian scenario for e-waste management? Let us discuss about this. In India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, that is MOEF, is responsible for environmental legislations and its control. The main bodies active in e-waste management in India are CPCB and SPCB. That is, CPCB means that Central Pollution Control Board, and SPCB, that is State Pollution Control Boards, and industry associations such as MAIT. These organizations are working under the guidance of MOEF that had set up a task force in 2007 to analyze the different aspects of the e-waste covered in various environmental legislation in India, and had drafted guidelines for environmentally sound management of e-waste. In the beginning of 2008, the CPCB released guidelines for environmentally sound management of e-waste, which apply to all those who handle e-waste. These guidelines are first policy framework dealing specifically with prevention, management, treatment, recycling, and disposal of e-waste in India. The policies frame provides guidelines for manufacturers, customers, generators, collectors, recyclers, transporters, dismantlers, and enforcement agencies, and prescribe procedures for handling e-waste in environmentally efficient manner. Apart from adoption of environmentally sound technologies, they include international standards and practices like restriction on hazardous substances, that is RoHS in EEE. Now let us discuss some ISO standards for the electronic and electrical waste. The ISO 14001 is for the purpose of classification at the site, temporary warehousing, and deployment of electronic and electric waste. So this is applicable to the document is optimized for small and medium sized organizations. Then ISO 14001 2015 I, this is for international standard for environmental management system, and this is applicable to the standard. This standard provides a framework that companies can follow. The goal of this certification is to reduce the environmental footprint of a business and decrease the pollution and waste business process. The program exists to help organizations to minimize how their operations negatively affect the environment. Now let us discuss the sustainable management of e-waste. So first, for sustainable e-waste management, a system adaptive to variability in quality and quantity has to be developed. The best available practices for e-waste management can be adopted from higher income countries. Higher income countries should be encouraged to efficiently handle their e-waste rather than exporting it to the developing countries where recycling techniques for e-waste are very primitive. Second one is the relying on principle of extended producer responsibility, that is EPR. The manufacturer should be made responsible for extending the life cycle of EEE products, that is electronic and electrical product equipments, until their valuable components are completely recycled. So the greater emphasis should be given to the large household appliances, as they comprises of highest amount of reusable and valuable components. The management of e-waste is a major concern, as neither the public nor the authorities are well aware about the potential harms caused by the e-waste. Next, that is awareness about the achievable economic benefits by recycling the triple E's can be increased. Desirability for urban mining in the lower and middle income countries. The regional governments can deviate the e-waste recycling process from well established informal units to formal recyclers by providing appropriate incentives to the former. Next one is primitive e-waste handling techniques used in illegal recycling units for developing countries can pose workers into fatal health issues, bringing the illegitimate recycling units under the legislation will help in preventing the workers from getting exposed to vapors of hazardous chemicals. This will also help to protect the livelihood of the workers engaged in the informal collection of e-waste. Next one is that is a sustainable e-waste management works on the principle of reverse logistic involved the waste collection from the consumers and handling by manufacturers and producers, with each step in between each as a segregation, transport, etc. playing crucial role. And the last, that is consumers of triple E's have the moral responsibility to segregate the e-waste at their end, which is a mandatory step to prevent its dumping into the municipal landfills. Segregation of e-waste at consumers' end can make the operation of the entire process effective and achievable. Now, conclusions. First, that is, as long as the electronic products continue to contain an assortment of toxic chemicals and redesigned without recycling aspects, they would be pose a threats to environment and public health at their end of life. Second one, that is need for stringent health safeguard and environmental protection laws in India. The government has consulted various non-governmental organizations, that is NGOs, in the process of developing a dedicated set of rules which would govern the management and handling electronic and electrical waste. Third, that is about the role of extended producer's responsibility. The principle of the extended producer responsibility, that is EPR, which underlines the current framework of the draft e-waste rules, may be an innovative steps in management of e-waste in the country. The concept of EPR aims to place full responsibility of collection of end-of-life electronic products and their safe disposal on the products. Next, that is a producer public government cooperation. In that case, the Basel Convention has promoted the concept of developing partnership with the industry, the public sector and the civil society for reducing hazardous waste at source and promoting their recycling and reuse. Next, that is awareness program. The new draft rule put the responsibility of creating awareness of the hazardous constituents of e-waste and its management on the producers. And the last, monitoring of compliances of rules. The state pollution control boards or committees responsible for grant of authorization, monitoring compliances of authorization and registrations conditions can take action against violation of rules. On the other hand, the Central Pollution Control Board can monitor the compliances of the conditions stipulated for the granting registrations. Thank you.